Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Wednesday, February 2nd slate of NBA games. I'm super excited to hop into it. We've had two successful days right in a row, starting off the week really well. Starting off the week 4-2. We did go 2-1 on Monday, and we also went 2-1 on Tuesday. So we'll go ahead and do a quick recap of that. But first, I did just want to say we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. We are less than 400 subscribers away, so hopefully we can hit that by Valentine's Day. That's kind of the goal right now. So that's the goal. Let's try to hit 3,000 by Valentine's Day. But yeah, another super good day. So we'll go ahead and recap those really quick. We did have Bobby Portis under 8.5 rebounds versus the Washington Wizards minus 125 odds. There was not a single person that was with me on this Bobby Portis under rebounds. He only finished with 5. No, he got a couple at the end. So he finished with like 6 or 7, but either way, he didn't hit the 9 rebounds, so that one ended up cashing for us. And then we did have Franz Wagner over 15.5 points versus my Chicago Bulls. I love betting against my Chicago Bulls because it always gives me money, which I absolutely hate. It makes me so frustrated, but it always works out for us. So Franz Wagner, he had 16 with like 5 minutes left in the third, so that one ended up cashing for us. And then our only loss of the day, we did have the Detroit Pistons minus 1.5 versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Brandon Ingram ends up playing, and that just kind of ruined the entire thing. The Pistons ended up losing by double digits, and they didn't even close out the game with Cade Cunningham or Isaiah Stewart. So if that tells you just how the game went, then so be it. Jeremy Grant even came back, which was kind of a surprise, and then they still didn't cover. So it was a weird game. It was a weird game, and after all the injury news, I was very scared. And rightfully so. Should have just faded that one, but I made the play the day before, so it's not like I knew any of this information. So now we'll go ahead and hop into today's plays. First thing I did want to say is by the time you guys are watching this, shortly afterwards, I am going to try to go live. I'm going to try to stream here on YouTube. I haven't done that yet here in the new house. I used to stream at my old house all the time, but I have not streamed in the new house. So I don't know how it's going to go. I hope it works out because I do think it would be enjoyable for me to stream, try to get some of you guys involved, have you guys help me make plays, stuff like that. I'll probably be live for about an hour. So if you guys did want to go ahead and stop by, I would love to have you guys. But I'm just not sure exactly how it's going to work. I'm not sure what time I'm going to go live, but I do want to try it. I do hope that it works out for us. So. But enough of that. If you guys can make it, cool. If you can't, you guys can definitely rewatch, whatever the case might be. But we're going to go ahead and hop into today's plays. I actually found 4 that I really like. A lot of times I don't find 4, but I really like 4 of these plays. So we'll go ahead and hop into it. First play of the day, we're going back to the well. Memphis Grizzlies -2 versus the New York Knicks minus 110 odds. So the Memphis Grizzlies, if you do look at their against the spread record in their past couple of games, it looks like they've only covered in 3 of their last 4. But if you guys remember, the game that they didn't cover was Philadelphia. Now, if you guys were watching my video, the Grizzlies at the opening line was at +4. They ended up losing by 3 points, so it technically cashed for us, but it just depends on where you had the line at. So for us, he has covered in 4 of his last. The Grizzlies have covered in 4 of their last 4 games. So really, really solid there. And if you look at the Knicks, they're really bad against the spread as a home team. They're actually 13-14 as a home team against the spread. And as a home underdog, they're just 3-4 against the spread. So anytime they're supposed to lose at home, a lot of times that they do. And if you look at it, the New York Knicks, they are coming off of a pretty big win against the Sacramento Kings. And after a win, the New York Knicks are just 9-14 against the spread, and they played on Monday. So this video is obviously coming live on Wednesday, and that is when the New York Knicks play. With 1 day of rest, the New York Knicks are 11-22 against the spread. So very, very tough there. They only cover 33% of the time with 1 day off of rest. It does look like Steven Adams is questionable, but I do think he's going to be available for the game. Either way, I still like the play, but with Steven Adams adding a little bit more defense, I do think it's going to help us out. And Memphis, as a road team, we all know that they've been an absolute wagon this year on the road. They are 17-8 against the spread as a road team, covering 68% of the time. So very, very good on the road. We love to see that. So hopefully that can end up hitting for us. And the Memphis Grizzlies came off of a overtime loss versus the 76ers, which we did, bet on them. So, it worked out for us, but, I know it didn't for a lot of people. But they are coming off of a loss, and after a loss, the Memphis Grizzlies are 11-6 against the spread. So really, really solid numbers there. So that's our first play of the day. Memphis Grizzlies -2 versus the New York Knicks -110 odds. Our next play of the day is going to be our boy Josh Giddey. We're taking his under 7.5 assists versus the Dallas Mavericks -140 odds. I know this one's a little bit juiced, and I hate taking an under for Josh Giddey because I feel like it's going to burn me, but hear me out. Just hear me out. Josh Giddey has gone under this line in 5 straight games, and he has hit this over just once in his last 9 games. So despite him being a tremendous passer of the basketball, he still only hit the over 1 in his last 9 games. And when you're looking at the Dallas Mavericks, they're the 3rd best defense in the entire NBA. So it's going to be very tough for some of his teammates to be able to score the basketball due to them just allowing only 103.4 points per game. And last game, which the Thunder are just in shambles right now, but in the last game, they had Josh Giddey listed as a point guard, and so that's the stat we're going with. He's probably going to play that again. So the Dallas Mavericks allow the 4th fewest assists per game to opposing point guards. And when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, again, they play at the 2nd slowest pace in the entire NBA. So not a whole lot of extra possessions for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think it actually takes a couple possessions away from them. And there are only a couple injuries for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they're massive ones. Isaiah Roby, kind of give or take, but he does provide a little bit of production. But he's been out for a while. And then SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out. He's going to be out until after the All-Star break. It kind of breaks my heart. He's one of my favorite young players, but he is out. So, Josh, as we all know, the 3 main scorers for this team are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, and Josh Giddey. So, taking out one of those key scorers, that pretty much only leaves one other good scorer on the floor with Lou Dort. And so I do think it's just going to be very hard for some of his role players to be able to hit shots. And so I just think that we're in a really good spot with this one. So that's our second play of the day, Josh Giddey, under 7.5 assists versus the Dallas Mavericks -140. I do love his points, though. His points, if you guys wanted to take that, love his points. Our third play of the day is going to be Anthony Simons, a face that we don't really bet on a whole lot on the channel, but I do think that he's in a really good spot. So we're going to take Anthony Simons over 18.5 points versus the Los Angeles Lakers -110 odds. Anthony Simons has cashed this line in 6 of his last 8 games. He's been on an absolute tear recently, and I know with CJ back, most of the time you would think that, he is getting his shots taken away, but that's really not the case. In all the games that CJ has been back, he has still shot 14 or more times, and the 14 was just once, and he was just having a rough night. He just kind of quit shooting. But other than that, he's shot more than 14 times in every game since CJ's been back, so it's not like he's not seeing the shot attempts. He's just got to knock it down for us. And the Lakers, obviously, they are not a very great defensive team, but they do allow the most points per game to opposing point guards in the entire NBA. So they give up a ton of points, and especially to opposing point guards. And the Lakers, they do have the 4th worst defense in the entire NBA, and they play at the fastest pace. All of this is leading up to a pretty good day from a guy like Anthony Simons, a young guy that's probably going to be looking to get a lot of shots up. And our fourth and final play of the day is going to be Robert Williams over 10.5 rebounds versus the Charlotte Hornets, -140 odds. The Charlotte Hornets, they are the worst rebounding team in the entire NBA, and it's not really that close. They also allow the most rebounds per game to opposing centers, and Robert Williams is a more than capable rebounding center. So I do think he's going to be able to thrive on this Charlotte Hornets team. And when it comes to the Hornets, they do play at the 2nd fastest pace in the NBA, right behind the Lakers, of course. So I do think we see more shots from the Charlotte Hornets, and I think a lot of those shots are going to fall in Robert Williams' hands. And when it comes to his last 4 games, if you're looking at his game log, you're like, wow, he's really inconsistent and it's not really looking good. But let's really dive deep into this one. So he has only cashed in 2 of his last 4. And if you look at his game log, you're probably thinking that it's going to be a coin flip. But let's really dive into this. So in some of his most recent games where he didn't hit this over, his last 4 were against Miami, who's the best defensive or the best rebounding team in the NBA, Atlanta, who's the top 10 rebounding team in the NBA, Washington, who surprisingly is a top 15 rebounding team in the NBA, and Portland, who's another top 15 rebounding team in the NBA. So all of those teams don't allow a whole lot of rebounds, and if you look at all the games that he has cashed in between these games, were against lower echelon rebounding teams, and that is exactly what the Charlotte Hornets are. So I definitely think we see a lot of value there. So that's our 4th and final play, Robert Williams over 10.5 rebounds versus the Charlotte Hornets minus 140 odds. And, so that's our last play, but we do also have the consensus play of the day. We do have the Denver Nuggets taking on the Utah Jazz at Utah. Utah at this point in time they are 2-point favorites, and so we do have 5 handicappers to 0. So another unanimous pick, 5 handicappers to 0 on Denver. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. We are on the road to 3,000, so hopefully we can hit that by Valentine's Day, but I just can't do that without your guys' help. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to tell a buddy about me. But for now, this is King Sarah signing out. Peace.